You're listening to Short History Shorts audio, where history speaks louder than images. The Old Kingdom of Egypt, often referred to as the Age of the Pyramids, wasn't only a time of towering stone monuments and divine kingship. It was also the foundation for the rhythms of everyday life in ancient Egypt. From around 2686 to 2181 BC, the Nile River didn't just water the crops, it fed a civilization's soul. Imagine waking up in a mud brick house near the banks of the Nile. For the vast majority of Egyptians, farmers, laborers, artisans, life began before sunrise. Men might head out to the fields with wooden plows and cattle, while women prepared grain, ground flour, and tended the hearth. Children would often help with chores, but also had moments to play. In the countryside, the seasons dictated everything: the flooding of the Nile, the sowing of crops, the harvest. But daily life wasn't just survival. It had rituals, relationships, and a sense of divine order called ma'at. People wore linen clothing, simple for peasants, finely woven for the wealthy. Cosmetics like eyeliner and scented oils were common across classes. Even the poorest Egyptians sought personal cleanliness and spiritual purity. Urban life, though more limited than later periods, buzzed in administrative and religious centers. In cities like Memphis, scribes scurried between state offices, while merchants traded in copper, alabaster, grain, or linen. Artisans crafted furniture, pottery, and stone carvings, many of which were destined for tombs because death was as important as life. The belief in an afterlife saturated daily routines. Funerary preparations were constant. Tombs were built long before death. Workers lived in organized villages like the famed pyramid builders' settlement at Giza, where evidence shows they were well-fed and treated far better than slaves. Meals typically consisted of bread, beer, onions, fish, and occasionally meat. Brewing beer was a domestic task, thick and cloudy. It was the lifeblood of both laborers and the elite. The ruling elite, nobles, high priests, and officials, lived lives of ceremony and governance. They hosted banquets with dancers, musicians, and harpists. Their homes, though more elaborate, still featured mud brick walls and courtyards, with niches for family gods or protective spirits. Religion touched every aspect of Old Kingdom life. Households had shrines to gods like Bees or Hathor. Offerings were made daily, not just in temples but in kitchens and fields. The pharaoh was the living embodiment of Horus, the divine glue holding society together. Yet behind the grandeur of the king stood bureaucrats, viziers, tax collectors, and scribes. These men recorded everything: grain tallies, land measurements, rituals, and legal disputes on papyrus or stone. Their work ensured that the centralized state machine of the Old Kingdom functioned smoothly. Education was limited to elite boys, especially those training to become scribes. These children endured years of study, copying texts and learning hieroglyphs. Girls, meanwhile, learned household management, weaving, and child-rearing, though priestesses and royal women could wield real influence. Family life was tight-knit. Love poems and tomb inscriptions showed deep affection between spouses. Children were cherished, and games like Senet were popular pastimes. Pets, including cats, monkeys, and even falcons, were common companions. Old Kingdom Egyptians lived with an eye toward eternity. Life was a preparation for death, and death a continuation of life. Even humble farmers saved for modest tombs and amulets to aid their passage to the next world. The emphasis on harmony with nature, family, and the divine shaped a culture that would endure for millennia. Through their rituals, labors, joys, and dreams, the people of the Old Kingdom built more than pyramids. They built a civilization that still whispers to us from the dust of time.